So over the weekend, I did play in the OTS store championship. I ended up getting second place, and my WCQ qualifier or invite. Um, I lost in the mirror match in the final to another Swordsoul Tenyi, and I wanted to show you my deck profile. So I did play three Incredible Ecclesia the Virtuous, just essentially another name. Usually you would use to go into Moye or Tai, and I think if you really had a desperate play, or if you already had a token on board, you might even go into your Long Yuan, but just Moye and Tai gives you better, um, more extended plays. And so I did play three Moyes, pretty standard. Um, the three Long Yuans. This helps burn your opponent for life points. And then three Tai, I mean not three Tais, two Tais and one Protos main deck. And then for the Tenyi package, play two Adhara, two Vishuddhas, and then three Ashunas. Still iffy about this. I really don't like being locked into worms. I just kind of wish there was another Sword Soul card that can help you, or another worm type that can help you negate spell and traps or deal with those kind of plays. But otherwise that, I mean, if there were, then the deck would be too powerful. So for my spells, I played one Harpy's Feather Duster, two Vessels. Really helped set up Protos sometimes, but otherwise I think I would cut it down to one or maybe zero. Um, two Triple Tactics Talent. I feel like this is pretty standard now in most decks. I don't think the third was needed, only if I wanted to see it and if I played against decks that had more monster interactions during my main phase. And then three Desires. I saw this card almost every game, and I don't think I would cut it out. I think it's just too good. It really helped. Um, there were some hands where like I just couldn't get a combo started, and this would kind of help pull me out of those situations. But there were also like two instances during the tournament where even after resolving Desires, I still couldn't draw into my combos. And then three Sword Soul Emergence, pretty standard for searching Sword Soul or a worm if you have a synchro on board already. So this is how you can search Protos. And then I played the one Sacred Summit. I think that's fine where it's at. I don't think it needs to be at two, um, not even three, but one or two is fine. If you want to go into your three synchro combo, but it's a searchable card. And then my last spell was three Forbidden Chalice, just for dealing with more monster negations. And then I played two Swordsoul Blackout, three Infinite Permanents, and then three Solemn Strikes. I think people got caught off guard with this card a lot, especially in my especially in my mirror matches. I think this is really good, but just in general, not even mirror matches, but like if you play against Sword Souls, if you Solemn Strike, negate the summon of the Synchro monster, especially when they use Moye and try to go +1 for Moye's draw effect. If you can negate the summon of the Synchro monster, they don't obviously they don't get the synchro monster, and they don't get Moye's effect because the monster wasn't properly synchro summoned. So that hit a lot of people. And then I'll go side deck. Played three Dark Ruler No More. This really helped me. I would side out if I was going second. I'd side Solemn Strikes out for this, just to kind of help deal with boards. Sometimes I did keep Solemn Strikes in for game two, but I think that was the correct move, was to side out Solemn Strikes for Dark Ruler No More if I was going second. Um, let's see, three Lightning Storms. Never, I sided this card in, but never saw it. Um, and well, I did see it once, but at that point my board was already established, so this card was kind of dead. Um, I played the third triple tactics talent. I did side this in once just because, again, um, hypothetically, like if I was playing against more interactive, like monster reliant decks, then that card really helped me out. And then this one was kind of my, I don't know, tech or spice going into the tournament. Silent Graveyard, I think my just hypothetically, if I drew this one card, um, it would help me shut down more like graveyard reliant decks versus trying to draw like Ash or like drawing two hand traps, a combination of two hand traps to really shut down like combos. But I know for sure like this would shut down um, some line of plays for Dragon Link players, PK players, but maybe some Drytron players too. But I did side this against Drytron, but never saw it. Debating if I should keep this or not, but I just want to see how it works against like some of the meta decks, and I never saw it. So then three evenly matched. Never had to um, use this at all. Um, I did side it in my final match, but it might have been the wrong move anyway because I was going first in game three of the championship match, and I ended up losing anyway. I actually lost to this card, which sucks. Imperial Order, um, I might main deck it. I think it's just worth main decking going first. And then Red Reboot, cited this so many times, but I never saw it. Which kind of brings me to maybe I have to play. I might even throw in Solemn Judgment in my deck somewhere just to make it work. For extra deck, I play the Ruddy Rose, the Dragite, Yazi. Never made this at all. Never made Ruddy Rose either. Thought about it, but going into chain gang for the attack bonus was just more ideal at the time. Played two Boxias for the Chaofeng setup, and then Draco, Berserker, Tenyi, the one Baron, the floor, Cheng Yang. And I don't think you need this at two. Usually, when you have one out, you should win the game already, or you should have like a pretty strong board where your opponent can't even out it. The two Chi Xiaos wouldn't go to three. I don't think you need three. For sure, you need two at least. And then I played three monks, um, just because with a Tenyi build, you never know. But when I was playtesting, I did miss not having the third one because I would burn the two that I had right away, and you know, after that, all your Tenyis are kind of dead and just relying on you getting a token. And then the last extra deck monster was a shaman. There were quite a number of plays where I was able to set this up. I had this Tai and Sacred Summit, so I tend to use this one to bait out the monster negations. So like imperms or dragoons. Um, yeah, this one really helped me out a lot because um, once if it did resolve, I would be locked into using Tenyi effects from the extra deck only. But the fact that people negated this so much, um, let me resolve Sacred Summit and Tai to kind of go off into my standard combos. But I wouldn't cut this, and this can also help revive your other worm. So like this helped me revive Chi, I believe, and I was able to use Chisao's effect still because its only restriction is for monster special for the extra deck, and Chisha was from the graveyard. So, but that is my deck profile. I think next I want to talk about my matchups. First match I played against Drytrons. Um, my opponent shotgunned his whole combo, but he messed it up somewhere along the way, so he ended the board with Dragoon, Anaconda, Drytron Mu Beta, and a Diviner, which I used Infinite Impermanence on. I'm not even sure if that's the right move to do, is to negate like the Diviner, but that's what I did anyway, and it seemed like it hurt him because he ended on like a mediocre board. Um, and at that point, he already burned 3,000 life points because he started his turn off with instant fusion to go into a Millennium Miser Strict, and I think that helps him play around hand traps or like monster like Ash or Nibiru and stuff. But that didn't bother me because I played too many like Imperms and Chalice. But yeah, like my turn, I was able to bait out his Dragoon negate and his Orange Hero negate in hand. So I just baited out two negations, and then I stole his Dragoon with triple tactics and went for game. And in my second game against him, he something happened. I can't remember too much. I think I just couldn't get my combo going, and he ended up setting up his board and going into the Drytron boss monster, the 4K attack, I think. And when I figured that was what he was going into, I just kind of scooped and went into game three, and then game three, similar situation. Um, I was for some reason I was able to out his. I went first again, but he ended up setting Dragoon again, and I was able to out that again and just kind of win that game. And then my second match, believe I played second match. I believe I played against was it Lyrilusc, the Lyrilusc deck, the burn up deck. Um, really weird situation because um, what was it? I think game one I went first. I was able to set my board and I won eventually because my opponent couldn't break it. And then game two he went first and went into his Draco Future and Lyrilusc Ensemble, which isn't once per turn, which is crazy because it just bounces like whatever special summon monsters by detaching one. And at that point, he had like four materials on it anyway, four or five materials. So I lost to that. And then game three, I sided Dark Blue no more, even though I was going first. Um, that still helped me out, I think. But um, well, actually, I sided it out. That was a different game, different match. But I went first again, set up my board, burnt my opponent with Long Yuan for 1,200, and then he was at that point. It was game three. We had like short of like 10 minutes to play. Um, I mean, the Lyrilusc combo can take you know quite long, especially if you're thinking like. In my opponent, I'm not saying he was slow playing, but his combo did take quite a while, which ate up a lot of the clock, which didn't matter to me because I was up. Um, it got to the point where he summoned the one Lyrilusc monster that can attack directly, and when he did special summon that, I because he would have been able to go for game if he did damage in battle phase, but the fact that um, he summoned that, and then I negated that monster's effect with Chi Shell because I wanted to trigger Changing because I had the Changing on board and I wanted to trigger Changing to banish one. So yeah, he summoned that monster and he was moving super fast at that point because we were literally like under 30 seconds or a minute, and he was moving super fast. So what had happened was he summoned that Lyrilusc monster. I negated its effect with Chi Shao, and then he activated triple tactics, and he activated triple tactics, tried to steal my monster. Didn't really like um, give me a chance to respond with Cheng Yang because Chi Shao banishes to negate a monster's effect. So I wanted to activate Cheng Yang's effect, but he was like, "Oh, you didn't say anything." I was like, "Well, you didn't give me a chance to respond." So I'm not gonna say that either one. I mean, you want to win, right? But I'm not gonna say that I sharked him or anything. I don't think that's considered sharking, but it's just he never really gave me a chance to respond or trigger Cheng Yang's effect anyway. And so by the time that was the game state was kind of restored in that sense. Um, time was up. I wasn't even you know too concerned about that, but it's just he really wanted to win. But it's just at that point he was playing super fast and not really allowing you know opponent to respond in a way. But you know, I'm not. I guess I'm not going to say too much about that. Um, I did notice though, for some players, like they will do things like that. Um, I did notice like how he takes forever to shuffle his deck, which was really weird because he burnt like 2 minutes at the start of the game just shuffling his deck, and I was already done within. You know, I was done shuffling my deck within 15 to 30 seconds, and he was just still shuffling his deck, and I was just like, well, I already know this game is gonna go into time because he takes a long time to shuffle his deck. So I mean, yeah, if he really, it's one of those things where like you just have to the meta decks or the popular decks, know the ins and outs of it so that you can respond, with ample time. You know, otherwise you're going to be caught reading the cards, and that's going to eat up a lot of time. But yeah, I don't think he was too happy about um, getting a tie for that round, but um, I don't think he wasn't able to um, he wasn't going to be able to win that game anyway. And then game three, match three, I played a Swordsoul. I think I just got outplayed by my opponent. Um, I think I went first both games, and I just got outplayed because he did play a Tenyi build too, and I think a Tenyi Swordsoul build is a lot better going second. It just breaks so many boards. So I lost, ended up losing to him, and then in fourth match I played Shaddoll Invoked Dogmatika. So I think turn one, my opponent went into Mechaba and then just passed on that. So no set cards, nothing. Didn't really have any other gas to go off. When he summoned the Alistair, I did think about like using Infinite Imperm on it, but I just thought I can stop that, but like if he has Invocation, then I'm kind of screwed. So I just let that go off. But then he ended on a Mechaba, um, which helped me out even more because on my turn I was able to just bait out the Mechaba negate and then use Imperm on it. Um, well, I didn't actually bait it out. I just straight up shotgun the Imperm on Mechaba, and then just went into my full combo and just went for OTK there. And then game two, um, yeah, I can't remember what happened in game two, but I can't remember if it was game two or three. But yeah, I think I got outgrinded game two, and then went to game three. I just kind of did the same thing, just set up the full board and just kind of took the game from there. And then I think my fifth and final match, I played against another Swordsoul Tenyi. Just really outplayed my opponent. Um, he did make a mistake of using triple tactics to draw two cards. He had a Moye on board, um, one card in hand, and then the triple tactics. And he decided to draw two cards. I don't think he drew what he wanted. I think he wanted to take. I think the correct play for him was to take my token. I had a token that I generated on the board. If he had took the token, then he might have had a chance. But I still had a chalice, forbidden chalice set anyway, so he couldn't do anything. Um, actually, I didn't have a chalice set. I actually had two. Um, I had two triple tactics talents set, or two dud spell cards set, or like two desires or two talents set, and he was super afraid of that, so he didn't go into anything besides drawing two. But I ended up winning both games, and then that's how I made top cut. Um, First person I played was the first Swordsoul Tenyi I lost to, but I ended up just drawing better. I think I it was a good rematch. Um, I 2-0'd him, just had more like a better combo line. Was able to break his board with the Tenyi package that I drew. So that game flew by pretty quick. Um, then the second game in the top cut, I played against Floowandereeze. Um, didn't really pay attention to like a lot of Floowandereeze decks or like just combos, but I just know that the is it Eaglin and Robina. or for sure the Rabina is what you want to stop with Imperm. So I just stopped that right away. And then game one, yeah, my opponent didn't draw into his map. But games two and three, he had map, but I was able to destroy those cards. I just figured that the Floowandereeze deck isn't like super oppressive. I think there was ways I was able to get out of it. There was one game where I had Dark Rule no more, and I just kind of shut off his whole board because he had a barrier statue and M-Pen. But yeah, like really just trying to choose like the right cards to destroy with Blackout too. I wasn't too concerned about the monsters being on the field. Um, I figured the Floowandereeze deck really relies on the spell and trap interactions that they can do. So I think in two games I drew Harpy's Feather Duster twice, or and I was able to clear his back row with it, and then just essentially outgrind at that point. And then of course in the final match I played against another Swordsoul Tenyi. I just don't think I had like the right side cards for sure. Didn't have it, so I ended up losing both games. But overall, I think the tournament was a fun way to really get back into like super or more competitive Yu-Gi-Oh. Just been playing locals lately or just playing casually, but I think I would make some changes to this deck. So we'll see what I do in the future. For sure, I want to throw in some judgments. Uh, yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.